So that way saves us taking any note. So I want to thank Brandon from JH Darbie and Co. and also Mark Williams from Royal Elite Vodka to basically go over this introductory meeting and see where we can hopefully move forward on this. So I'm gonna let you guys do most of the talking and most of the Q&A. So I'm gonna start off with Mark. Mark, would you like to introduce yourself and your Royal Elite Vodka, please? Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon, how are you?
John
He's
Mute. Hey, Brendan Bushman, how
yeah.
are you?
Hey, Brandon. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So I'll just give a little brief on me and kind of my history, resume, and then the same with Royal Elite. So I'm originally from New York, from Yonkers, the Bronx. I went to Boston College on a football and track scholarship where I double majored in finance and film. And then after that, moved out to Los Angeles. And as far as my resume and my pedigree, I've had three exits in the time that I started in the spirits industry, which was 2001. So I had three brands that we got acquired. The first one was Hypnotic. We sold that to Heaven Hill Distilleries. And still to this day, we have the record for first year out in full distribution. We sold 1.1 million cases. The second brand was Nuvo, and we sold that to Diageo. The third brand, 3 months after we sold Nuvo to Diageo, we sold a brand called 22 Marquis to Diageo because they were like, how are these three young guys building these brands so quickly? So they wanted to know what else we had. We presented 22 Marquee, and they gave us a $100 million valuation and bought 20% of it to handle our distribution and sales. So now I have my own vodka. And this is the biggest by far because if you look at Hypnotic and Nuvo and 22 Marquee, they were liqueurs. So liqueurs only really make up for 1 to 2% of the drinking population. Vodka makes up for 37, 38% of the global drinking population. So we have the landscape for drinkers just in our category to reach our numbers. And the goal I'm setting is 1 million cases sold in a calendar year within 3 to 5 years. So doing that, the FOB on Royal Elite is $22 a bottle. So that's 132 per case. 1 million cases is 132 million in that calendar year. The very simple math that the spirits industry do based on your gross margins is anywhere from 5 to 10% multiple. I mean, 5 to 10 time multiple. So since my gross margins, when we did our proof of concept run in California, we're at 74%. Gross margins, just generally speaking, in the spirits industry from Diageo or Brown and Forman or LVMH, 61%. So we were way, way higher than the average, which means that we'll very easily get the 10 times. We'll probably get closer to 20 times. So just looking at the 10 times multiple, that's 132 million in a calendar year. You times that by 10, that's 1.3 billion that the company would sell for just simply. So the goal is to get to those 1 million cases in the calendar year. And again, doing this 3 times with the formula, with the math, it's very much possible to get that done. So this is really a turnkey operation where distribution is set up, the team is set up. Nobody on my team has any less than 15 years of experience. My national sales director, I got him from Hypnotic. I got other players from Brown and Foreman, from Diageo. So we're set, ready to go with a finished product, proof of concept, and just looking to just put some fuel in the engine to get going.
Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Mark, for that introduction, detailed introduction. So, Brandon, why don't you unmute yourself, introduce yourself, sir, and your investor group? Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Sure. So, yeah, nice to meet you guys. So I'm with a broker dealer and investment bank, JH Darbie and Company. Um, we're involved in, my background's mostly open market buying stocks, but we have a group of investment bankers. We've been involved in some spirit deals and beverages. Like we were involved in Monster, a few other names. We did some banking deals for THC companies, a soda company. So yeah, it's an interesting deal. I like, I met Dr. Ying through a friend. So we're interested to see how we could get involved and maybe help and get some equity or help finance the deal.
Yeah,
Okay.
and also just so I already have a contracted first right of refusal through SPI. SPI owns Stoli Group. So they came to me and put this together that when I am ready to sell, I have to go to them first to offer them the offer, and they have to put back in writing what they're willing to offer. Like, say I ask for 500 million, they can come back and say we're willing to do 350, but all that has to be in writing, or they have to come back and say, we're going to pass on the 500 million or whatever the amount is. So then, logically what I do is I take that offer and shop it around. And obviously already I have deep connections with Diageo, also with LVMH and Pernod Ricard. So I would take those to them and say, hey, are you guys interested in jumping in, even if it's at an early stage, just to get the eyes on the brand. But I already have an agreed first right of refusal from SVI, from Stoli Group.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for that introduction. Now, Brandon, you asked me some question previously, which I wasn't able to answer fully. Have you been able to find those answers in the deck, or do you want to ask those questions directly to Mark? So this is the opportunity to ask him and for him to answer directly to you. So, Brandon, any outstanding question you want to ask him, sir? Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious of the so with your background, like how do you put in the hands of a distributor, or how how does it work in terms of getting it into bars or getting it into restaurants? Do you have to go through a single distributor, or is it like knocking on doors? I'm just curious of the sales plan and the business rollout.
Right. So the rollout would be, since it is technically illegal if you're not of age, everything has to be done through a distributor. You have to have a licensed distributor, even when the product comes in from overseas. When it gets stored before your distributor picks it up, it needs to be in a licensed and bonded warehouse. Very, very strict. There's multiple layers to the process. I can't just sell direct to consumer. It has to go through a distributor, a licensed distributor. So our distributor, the interesting thing is, I have two distributors for national and for Canada. We're with RNDC, Republic National Distribution Company. So I strategically went with RNDC, which is the second largest in the U.S. Southern Glacier is the first. They do about 29 billion. RNDC does about 27 billion. But I specifically went with RNDC because they have Tito's. Tito's is the most valuable brand in the U.S. right now. They did 12 million cases last year. To put that in perspective, Jack Daniels does about 8 million cases. So Tito's is the most valuable brand. So I went in with RNDC because once we start to reach our numbers, since they don't see a competition between Tito's and Royal Elite, Tito's is a $17 bottle, Royal Elite is a $40 bottle. So they can piggyback Royal Elite in through Tito's because it's pretty much like the real estate market. You know, they want to go in there and try to get as much shelf space as possible. And RNDC right now doesn't have an exciting luxury vodka brand, which is the most valuable in the world. If you look at Southern has Grey Goose, Belvedere, uh, Chopin, Kettle. They have all of those luxury brands, even though those luxury brands have cycled out, which is, you know, another subject why this is such an amazing opportunity is all those luxury brands from Gen X's have cycled out. Grey Goose, Belvedere, they've all cycled out. So just by fault, people are drinking Tito's as a luxury brand, or they're bringing it to parties or giving it for birthday gifts because there's nothing cool going on in the luxury vodka space, which is the most valuable. So we will fill that void with Royal Elite. Again, with my resume, it's very, very difficult to penetrate these markets if you don't know all those layers and know how they move. So RNDC will be our distributor for national. In certain markets, we'll be with Breakthrough, which is like Indiana, Minnesota, or Nevada, some of those markets. And then because Royal Elite is kosher as well, we have a kosher for Passover variety. We'll have a kosher distributor just focusing on kosher globally. So it's like being a Latin artist or a music artist, and you're Latin, and you have an agent or manager that is just selling in U.S. to the pop market in U.S. And then you also have an agent that is just focusing on Latin-speaking countries. As a product, you can sell in both areas, which means potentially twice as many sales. So we have a kosher distributor and we have a general market distributor.
Thank you for that in-depth answer. Brandon, any more questions you want to fire at Mark?
Yeah, I met the head of sales at Tito's. Yeah, I'm curious. It sounds interesting. I think so. Right now, this would be a Reg D investment, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second part after Tito's.
A Reg D. It's like a Reg D investment.
Yeah, it's just basically in investing. What's in the presentation. I don't know if you were able to kind of comb through it, but I'm asking for $7 million on a convertible note. But we can, there's other ways we can structure it, but that's what's in the actual presentation. So it would just basically be that 7 million on a convertible note. It will convert between 12 and 18 months, and then the equity would be given at that point.
Brandon, any more questions?
No, Lee, I think it's good. If you have any more information, you could put us on an email, and then maybe we could get together and do work something out.
Yeah, sure. Mark, any question you want to fire
Well,
for Brandon to answer?
No, so Darbie is basically a brokerage house, or do you have clients that you manage their portfolio or family office, and you kind of figure out what investments are good for them and good places for them to put their money, or alternate investments that may work for them?
Brandon, do you want to unmute yourself and answer that question, sir? Thank you.
That's great, guys. Let's put us together on an email, and I'll review it with our guys, and we'll follow up very soon.
Yeah, but could you answer Mark's question regarding whether Darbie is a brokerage, or you manage your
We're
own
a broker.
fund, such as
We're a broker dealer. We're a broker dealer.
Okay.
I see.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time. Hopefully you've gone out and voted as well. Very historic moment. And hopefully this is another historic moment where we can connect the dot between Royal Elite Vodka and J.H. Bardi and Co. So thank you again. Much peace and love to you both, and Christ our blessing. Take care. I'll send you this recording and we'll take it from there. All right. Take care, gentlemen.
Thank you.
God bless.